I hope you had a good Christmas week. But in today's video, I'm going to talk about my experience at Steamboat on January 2nd. It was the weirdest powder day I've ever had. Steamboat just felt like I was skiing at Whistler or in the Pacific Northwest. It was so weird. There was rime ice everywhere. It was so foggy. The snow was like Sierra cement. It was just insane. Anyway, let's get right into the video. We had been anticipating a storm at Steamboat all week, and we left for Steamboat that Friday morning at 6 a.m. from Silverthorne. Roads were slick and snow-covered, but we got there in an hour and 40 minutes. After getting to the village, we got ready and got on the line for the gondola. We saw fellow skiing YouTuber Eternal Trick in the gondola line as well. Shortly after, we got on the Steamboat gondola around 8:30 and got to the top of Thunderhead. The weather was strange. It was raining at the base and foggy and very wet snow at the top. The weather all day reminded us of Whistler or the Pacific Northwest. We got on our skis and snowboard and skied down to the bottom of the Storm Peak Express. We did our first lap down Storm Peak. This is when we realized just how weird the day was in terms of weather. Rime ice covered the chairs going up Storm Peak, and also the top terminal, and all the signs at the top were covered in it. The snow at the top was not that deep, but lower down towards 4 points we got some good turns in. After that, we dropped down Hurricane to pressure drop. The footage I got there was basically unusable, sadly. Around half my clips during the day were also pretty bad. After that, we skied down back to Storm Peak, where the line had grown to 5 minutes. Eco was so insanely busy because the lower section of Storm Peak was closed at the time, so everyone had to take that run. After going up the lift, we decided to go to Sunshine and took the Highline Trail over. We cut over to the Flintlock Trail and skied down, dipping into the trees on the side occasionally. It was bumpy underneath, but the run was still fun. We got to Sunshine Express, and it was basically a walk-on. Rode up and went down the lift, trying to see if we could get to these trees underneath the lift. Unfortunately, we didn't, because we went to the right when getting off the lift instead of going to the left, and there was a fence that prevented us from cutting over far enough. So that was unfortunate. But we went over from Rendezvous Way to the Run Fawn, and to the left on Fawn, there was these really good trees that we skied, and they were best conditions all day. No one skied them, like few tracks. It was amazing run. And and even at the end of the day, pretty close, it was still pretty unskied. So very good. And once we got to the bottom, Sunshine had a 10-minute wait. And after that, we skied down the lift line, hitting the trees that we previously missed. And not as good as the trees below on Fawn, but still good. And speaking of those trees we hit again, they were still amazing, as I said before. And we skied down to the South Peak lift and headed up to the Rendezvous Lounge and went to eat lunch. Looking out the windows, it was just a white wall, seeing more than like a mere 200 feet outside of the lodge. And we also saw Eternal and another friend of ours. After we skied down West Side, which wasn't that great, to Sundown, where I waited in the longest line of the day, everyone was going to lunch, making the lines at Elkhead and Sundown terrible. We waited in the 20-minute line to get up the lift. And on the way up, we saw these cool aspen trees that had been covered in ice. Something really cool that you would only really see out on the coasts. After getting off Sundown, we skied down the same combination of Upper Sunshine lift line to Rendezvous Way to Fawn Trees. Still a great run. After we did that run, we waited 10 minutes at the bottom of Sunshine and rode back up and took the traverse over to the Storm Peak pod. We skied Storm Peak South, which had gone icy in spots, down to Dusk and over to Rainbow. And we did a jaunt through the trees and back onto Rainbow and skied back down to the bottom of the Storm Peak Express. And now it was a walk-on again, thankfully. As we rode up Storm Peak, we realized that the runs underneath the lower part of the lift had a couple tracks in them. So we realized that it could be open. And once we passed 4 points, we saw Ski Patrol taking down the ropes, and we realized what was going on. So we hurried down Triangle 3 to Cyclone, and we skied that trail along in the trees. Amazing turns. Just some of the best of the day. And then we unfortunately got stuck at the bottom of that area in a little creek. We had to cross a small creek. I mean, it wasn't as bad. I had an experience at Copper last year that was 10 times worse than this. Stuck for an hour. Thankfully, it was only a 5-minute time that we were stuck, so it wasn't that bad. And we were able to ski down Tornado Lane back to the bottom of Storm Peak Express, where we rode up again and traversed back over to Sunshine and did the our run again that we've done a lot this day. And after going up Sunshine one last time, we decided to download Wild Blue from Sunshine Peak to the base. And on the lift, I got an image of my camera, and it was just insane. My camera was caked in ice, and slush. It was just so weird. And once we got to the bottom of Wild Blue at the base, I decided to do one last lap on Christie Peak Express. And I went down Bear Claw to Vogue to Wild Blue Way. It was okay. It was actually pretty slushy because it was warm at the base. But yeah, and you could see the fog line where because it wasn't foggy at the base like it was at the top. But yeah, that was cool. Overall, I had a fun day of skiing, best so far this season, but I don't have enough experience at Steamboat to give a full review, but I have some first impressions to give. Firstly, Steamboat's terrain pods have much more vertical than my home mountain, or main mountain, Copper Mountain. Like Copper, the average pod is about 1,000 vertical feet, and the most being 2,100 with the Super B lift. Steamboat is overall steeper. At Steamboat, there's multiple terrain pods exceeding 2,000 feet, which is pretty nice. And also, the lift network was kind of annoying at Steamboat. My dad pointed out how the layout was similar to canyons, where you had to take a gondola up to mid-mountain, where you could then go to the actual main pods you want to ski, which is, I guess, yeah, that's a valid point. Also, the crowds around lunchtime are bad. Elkhead and Sundown both had 20 to 25 minute lines around 1:30 p.m. or 1:30 a.m., which is bad. Also, the summits at Steamboat are flat, unlike many other resorts in Colorado, like Copper, which has pretty pronounced peaks, especially Union Peak. And also, there's no above treeline terrain, which is kind of sad. I do love my bowl skiing, but the tree skiing is really good. Yeah, and also I love the number of on-mountain lodges. Copper only has one true indoor on-mountain lodge, which gets insanely busy. And I like that you have more options at Steamboat. I will most likely ski another day at Steamboat sometime this season, and maybe do a more in-depth review later on in the season. But anyway, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more videos. Bye.